We need to take this next storm seriously as it has the potential to produce widespread heavy snow, heavy rain and flooding, as well as severe weather as we go forward into next week. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you are new to the channel and not subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It's absolutely free to do, and you get detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics right here on this channel. And be sure to press the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. So getting into the weather forecast here for today, our temperatures are still well above normal for this weekend, especially up across the northern tier of the United States and southern Canada, where areas are 10 to even 20 degrees plus above average for this time of year as we move forward through the weekend. And just peeking into those high temperatures and what they'll be like as we get into this afternoon, temperatures will be widespread 50s and 60s across the middle of the country, the Great Plains, the Midwest, and down near the Gulf Coast, maybe some 70s down there in toward Florida. And as we go into Sunday, we'll be cooling off a little bit closer towards average, but still seeing widespread 40s and 50s all across the middle of the country. So nothing to complain about for the third week into November, that is for sure. But we are tracking our new and next storm system that is pushing into our western areas. This is going to be digging into the desert southwest and the southern plains this weekend in a fairly decent trough as well. And you can see as we go through today and tonight, we're going to start to see the leading edge of this storm system moving in across southwestern Oregon through the Sacramento Valley here into California and even into the Four Corners region, where we see a lot of rain and even some snow showers in those higher elevations. That snow really gets cranking across portions of the Rockies as we go Sunday into Sunday night. And then the warm side of the system, we're going to have to watch across portions of southern Kansas, Oklahoma, and down into north and northeast Texas for some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms on Sunday, because those dew points will be creeping up into the middle and upper 50s across this region. And what you need for severe weather is mid 50 dew points or higher and some wind shear. And we have that for the potential of some severe weather. So it's possible we have some severe weather in isolated fashion on Sunday afternoon and evening across southern portions of Kansas into central Oklahoma and far north Texas, including the Wichita, Kansas region, Oklahoma City, and even the Norman, Oklahoma region in play for that, with damaging winds and large hail being the main mode of severe weather, although a brief tornado cannot be ruled out as we go into Sunday. Looking at rainfall accumulation this weekend, the heaviest of the rains will be falling out near the west coast, across Seattle, Portland, and down and towards Sacramento. Could be seeing widespread 1 to 3 inches worth of rain across those areas. Some rainfall across the Four Corners region near Phoenix, up towards Salt Lake City there, moving in toward the Albuquerque region in New Mexico. Could be seeing around a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain there. And of course, our storms in the middle of the country could be producing some beneficial rains to help improve some of that drought out there this weekend. Here's the snowfall you'll be seeing in the higher elevations out across the Rockies and even the Sierras into California. Could be seeing a couple feet of snow out of this moisture. So definitely the ski resorts getting a nice supply of snowfall across portions of the west as we go into the weekend ahead. And then we turn into early next week. Now, this is starting to look a little bit more concerning than it has over the past couple of days. Trends have emerged that this trough is going to begin to take more of a negative tilt as we go into Monday night, and into Tuesday early next week. And looking first on Monday, our dew points will be surging up into the mid-Mississippi Valley region, into the 50s and 60s up toward the Memphis area, down through Jackson, Mississippi, and those areas surrounding that. Definitely seeing that instability out there across the deep south on Monday. Then as we go into Tuesday, that shifts further east with a cold front. So our coastal communities near the southeast coast into North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida need to be paying attention to this as we go into Tuesday. So looking at Monday, during the day, we're going to have this cold front pushing across eastern Oklahoma and down into east central Texas. This will ignite some isolated to widely scattered supercells capable of large hail, damaging winds, and a couple of tornadoes during the day on Monday. Colder rains further to the north across the Midwest, and then backwash moisture with some snow on Monday across the Rockies. As we go into Monday night, this is going to be a big system to watch as we go across the Dixie Alley region, possibly even as far north as the Tennessee Valley, with a squall line of some big storms pushing across Tennessee, across Mississippi, down through Louisiana, and entering into Alabama Monday night. And this is after dark, folks. The sun sets a lot sooner now, so this could be prime time for some tornadoes and nocturnal tornadoes. So make sure that you have a weather radio handy down across the Deep South. In the event that a tornado warning is issued overnight on Monday. And looking at this, the low-level jet stream, this is what you look for tornado genesis across the Deep South, and we have plenty of that in supply as we go across portions of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and even parts of Georgia as we go into Monday night. Then as we go into Tuesday, that storm system shifts further to the east with the cold front, colder rains up across the mid-Atlantic there with some heavier rains for Pennsylvania and the Delmarva region, snow and heavy snow at that across the southeastern Canada regions there on Tuesday, and then further south, if there's any instability left over on Tuesday morning into the afternoon, we could be talking some severe weather from the Carolinas, Georgia, and down into North Florida for Tuesday. So here's the severe weather potential as we go into Monday. The key is on the left-hand side of your screen, and it is likely we see severe weather, especially across portions of Shreveport, getting down towards New Orleans there, a possibility of severe weather, Little Rock, Jackson, Mississippi, maybe even as far north as the Memphis, Tennessee region, seeing that severe weather as we go Monday and into Monday night. And this is going to be probably the strongest day of severe weather that we have seen in quite some time. So definitely make sure, again, to have those weather radios handy as tornadoes are more dangerous overnight. Then as we go into Tuesday, this shifts further to the east, the Carolinas, Georgia, eastern portions of Alabama into northern Florida could be seeing the possibility of severe weather. I do think, though, Tuesday is going to be a lesser day of severe weather as the instability isn't quite as strong as on Monday, but still be watching out for that if you live into Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, the Atlanta region, down toward Montgomery, Alabama, and even the Tallahassee, Florida region as we go into Tuesday for severe weather. Overall, though, this storm is going to be reaching far and wide across the eastern two-thirds of the country, whether it's producing heavy snow, heavy rains that could cause some flooding, or severe weather. We're just going to see a lot of rainfall in general across the eastern two-thirds of the country. If you're across the Ohio Valley, count on a couple inches of rain for you. Across the southeast, a couple inches, and even up into the northeast and New England, seeing a couple of inches of some heavier rain as we go through the middle of next week. There's the snowfall as we go in towards that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday time frame next week. Most of this is across southeastern Canada into Ontario and Quebec and the upper Great Lakes region across the UP of Michigan and northern lower Michigan, seeing possibly a dusting to a half an inch of snow, mainly on grassy surfaces across those regions, and then possibly some heavier snow for New England up here from portions of Maine down through Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York, possibly a couple of inches of snow. Now, take this with a grain of salt. These totals will be changing over the next few days, but just giving you an idea of the cold air that's pushing in, the moisture, the snow will be available for you if you live into New England as we go toward the middle of next week. In the wake of this storm system, it's going to be all about reality, folks. We are getting into the colder weather later into November. Below normal temperatures will be settling in across the middle and eastern two-thirds of the country. You have to go to the west coast or southern Florida to see any resemblance of above normal temperatures for the rest of November. And we'll be drying out across the northern tier of the United States for the most part as well as we finish off the month of November. Wetter conditions portions from Texas all the way through the Gulf Coast regions and up toward the East Coast there for late November. So let's look ahead at Thanksgiving Day itself. You can see these are your high temperatures, milder temperatures to the south. We have 40s and 50s across the majority of our south central states. The coldest temperatures will by far be across southern Canada with the deeper snowpack. Temperatures will be into the single digits and teens up there. And then some 20s for highs bleeding in across portions of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper Great Lakes region as we go into Thanksgiving Day. Factor in the wind out there, because this time of year, if you factor in the wind, you get the wind chills, and you can see well below zero wind chills up here across Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and even Ontario, and even parts of Quebec, Canada, seeing those double-digit below zero wind chills, and even some teens for wind chills down across the upper Midwest. So definitely seeing that as we go into Thanksgiving Day. Here's your precipitation map. We have another storm system worth watching as we go into later next week. This is going to be more of a Pacific and Clipper hybrid type system. We're going to have the moisture coming off the Pacific Ocean. We're going to have the northwesterly flow in the wake of our big storm system early on in the week, and that is going to be drawing in a lot of cold air, and that will be giving us some snowfall across the Rockies yet again. And this could be piling up across portions of Idaho, Nevada, getting in toward portions of Wyoming, a couple inches of snowfall for you for Thanksgiving Day. And again, this is what I was just mentioning. This is our storm track from the Pacific Northwest across the country through the Central Plains and in toward the East Coast. To the north of that track, likely seeing the colder weather for snow. To the south of that track, likely seeing some colder rains or maybe even some thunderstorm activity as we go into later next week and next weekend. Speaking of next weekend, the colder air will be pushing further south. The snow line will be pushing further south. So places like Iowa, getting in toward Missouri, around the Kansas City region, we could be seeing some heavier snows possibly as we go into next weekend. But it's all about the track of this storm system. And it's far from set in stone, but just giving you an idea of how far south that snow line could get. By next weekend, we could be seeing it getting as far south as New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, portions of northwestern Oklahoma, and Kansas. And if we do see some snow, possibly some heavier snow, if we can get some moisture in here for next weekend. And beyond that system, that pushes the snow line further south. That pushes the freezing line a little bit further to the south as well. There's the freezing line going all the way down into west central Texas and the Panhandle of Texas as we go into the following week on November 27th. So reality is setting in, folks, and we really need to watch this next system here. And here's the wind chills. It's going to be cold as we finish off the month of November. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It's absolutely free to do. You get detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics right here on this channel. And be sure to give the video a thumbs up down below if you like today's weather forecast and today's weather content, and I appreciate that. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend out there.